Good afternoon. Welcome everyone to our Meet All the Candidates Forum. I'm Colleen Bannerman, and I'm honored to be the president of the Wasaga Beach Chamber of Commerce. As an organization whose mission is to advocate for business and economic development, the Chamber has a keen interest in knowing what is happening in government. But it goes deeper. The Chamber is made up of citizens who live and work in our community. This is home. Our members want to know who their elected officials are and where they stand on the issues that affect us all. The Chamber is not a political action committee. We sponsor candidate forums because we believe people have a right to know what their candidates for public service say about issues that affect our community. We provide the forums as a public service, and we are privileged and proud to play a role in the democratic process. The Chamber does not endorse candidates. We will take positions on broad policy issues, but we don't support individual candidates in elections. I feel we all benefit from an open, respectful exchange of information and ideas. A candidate forum allows candidates seeking public office to express their views openly so community members can understand their positions and make informed voting choices. The candidate forum is meant to inform citizens of our community and create an opportunity for community building. If all candidates adhere to the rules, everyone will benefit through increased visibility and general interest in our town. It is my pleasure to introduce John Sandem from 95.1 The Peak FM as our moderator today. John will go through the format, rules, and expectations for our Meet All the Candidates Forum. John Sandem.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Colleen, and thank you to the Wasaga Beach Chamber of Commerce for putting this event on today. A few things to cover here. We will go alphabetically in order, starting with the mayoral candidates, going down to the deputy mayoral candidates, councilors, and school board trustees. They'll get a chance to say their opening remarks. Mayoral and deputy mayor candidates will have 4 to 6 minutes to speak. Councilors and school board trustees will have 2 minutes to speak. And we'll be timing them. We'll give them a 20-second warning with this orange card right here. At the end of the time, we'll ding this bell and their time will be up. We'll start with the opening remarks from the mayoral candidates. As I said, we're going alphabetically. So we'll start with Nina Bifolci.
Good afternoon. I'm Nina Bifolci, and it's been a pleasure to serve the Wasaga Beach community for the past 12 years. 8 as a council member, and the last 4 as your deputy mayor and Simcoe County councillor. I'm the proud mother of 3 adult sons and fortunate to be part of a supportive family which has enabled me to become engaged in our community. I have enjoyed serving on and chairing committees at both the municipal and county levels, including vice chair of the Simcoe County Affordable Housing Advisory Committee and chair of the Wasaga Valley Conservation Authority's Board of Directors. I bring to the position of mayor both business and governmental experience, which has prepared me for the highest office in our local government, that being the mayor of the town of Wasaga Beach. All who know me to be honest, transparent, and fair. And while I may not always agree with individuals, I believe we all have a right to share our opinions without being silenced or the matter turning personal, regardless of our differences. Those who know me know that I am straightforward and to the point. What you see is what you get. You can be assured that I will not lie to you to gain your vote, nor will I promise you something I can't deliver. My main focus will always be on the well-being of our town as a whole. I bring experienced leadership that respects legislation, policy, and process, as well as healthy, respectful relationships with other agencies. Deep rifts within the community, low staff morale, and ruined relationships between the town and other agencies requires leadership to mend the consequences of the past 4 years. Wasaga Beach needs to elect 7 independent thinking members of council, capable of making decisions through critical thought and taking into account staff expertise. A fair to all approach is a must. I fully support development in our community and recognize it's a necessity to meeting our community's needs. I believe council needs to demand high standards of itself, staff, and all developers wishing to bring development to our town. Council has a responsibility to ensure proper process is followed and that accurate and truthful information is shared with us prior to making decisions. In the past 4 years, I've participated in many unanimous votes. However, some really important ones that affect all of you weren't presented with pertinent, adequate, or accurate information at times, and I was forced to vote no. I've spent the past 4 years debating my opponent in an extremely toxic and volatile environment, and I look forward to bringing professionalism back to the council chambers. I have spent the past 4 years defending you and this community from its own council against overwhelming opposition around the council table. My first goal as your mayor will be to heal the divide that has been created in our community and our town hall. I will provide inclusive leadership, restoring staff morale, and mending strained relationships with other organizations. I will lead by respecting all residents, staff, and my colleagues around the council table, with strict adherence to policy, process, and legislation. True leaders don't pretend to know it all, but rather surround themselves with people who are excellent in their particular fields, and continue to learn by listening to what they have to share. I will ensure that a realistic and workable business plan is developed to eliminate the annual financial losses of the town-owned beachfront properties, ensuring that the authority of the decision-making of this investment is put back in the hands of your entire elected council. A review of the agreements, leases, and financials will be required so the new council knows exactly where we are starting from. I will advocate to share the findings with the entire community. If any aspect of a deal or arrangement can't stand the light of day, then it probably shouldn't have happened. The past 4 years of council have been focused mainly on the beachfront and Main Street to the exclusion of the rest of the town and its residents. Council needs to get back to its core mandate of serving its residents townwide, as opposed to taking uncalculated risks that has already resulted in lawsuits, debt, and creation of general townwide distrust of Town Hall. We need to work with staff at all levels of Wasaga distribution, listen to their expertise, get their insights and ideas to grow this valuable asset that we are so fortunate was not sold out from under us by the current council. I thank the residents of this community who stood up, spoke out, and prevented this council from selling. I believe there are still people on the stage who will sell a utility following this election, so I ask that you choose wisely. Pictures and promises of a double pad arena, library, and other amenities were promised during this term of council as part of a bigger picture. The newly elected council will have some decisions that need to be made very quickly. There are other options for locations of these facilities that will better meet the needs of our community in a fiscally responsible and timely manner. As the Vice Chair of the County's Affordable Housing Advisory Committee, I was extremely pleased that we were chosen to have a 99-unit building constructed in our community. This is an ongoing issue, and we will need to seek out solutions and partnerships for those unable to access appropriate housing. With the assistance of the town's Economic Development Office, I am committed to working with current businesses, landowners, and developers throughout town to grow their business or develop their properties, creating new employment opportunities in our community. If elected as your mayor, I promise that decision-making will be put back in the hands of all members of council as a cohesive team working respectfully with staff and with decisions being made by true democracy. I will be a mayor for all the people and will move from defending the interests of Wasaga Beach residents to taking those interests forward in a sensible, cost-effective manner. Together as a team, we will get our entire community back on track. Please visit my website at nitabyfolchi.ca for more information on my thoughts for our community. I ask that you vote for independent thinking individuals in this year's election and elect me, Nita Byfolchi, as your next mayor. Thank you.
Next up, we have our other candidate for mayor, Brian Smith. Brian.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, panel candidates. I'd like to begin by thanking the Wasaga Beach Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event, and especially to you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here to hear us out personally so you can make an informed decision in this election. I'd also like to thank my beautiful wife, Joanne, and my family for all the love and support that they give to me. I am truly blessed to have you in my life. I entered politics in 2014 when I ran to be the mayor, and I won that race with 56% of the vote. on a platform for change against my two opponents. Today, I'm proud to stand before you and say that I've been true to that platform, and I'm able to check off every box on my platform. Sadly, it has not been easy, because of those who voted for my opponent have continued to fight for the changes that you supported. They've used every tactic conceivable, including personal attacks, and a 4-year campaign built on misinformation, innuendo, character assassination, and outright lies. So it's time to set the record straight on a few of these things. I promised to make the work of council more accountable and transparent, and immediately after becoming mayor, moved to have all votes of council and committee recorded, and they now are. And now not only is your council meeting televised, but all of your committees of council are live streamed so that you, the public, can see what it is that your council is doing. This is why I'm so disappointed when I hear of some citizens who believe the false misinformation that the opposition never ceases to try and peddle. One of the worst of these lies is the blatant lie that I voted to sell Wasaga Distribution. Only council can sell distribution, and they voted on it only once, and the vote was 7-0 not to sell. If I wanted it sold, would I have promoted for an open process with all of the public included? No. What arguments did I ever make to sell it? None. As your mayor and council, it's our responsibility to be diligent and to put forth all the facts before you, and then to listen to the community, and that is exactly what we did. I am the only candidate that I'm aware of in the last election that put in writing that we should not be selling Wasaga Distribution. I have never voted to sell Wasaga Distribution, and I won't. Wasaga Distribution never has been for sale and never will be. Over the last 4 years, among many investments in infrastructure and others, the larger one is the investment of the beachfront and now the downtown, and much of the nonsense that has been spewed saying it is a costly deal that will bankrupt our town. This investment will make you, the citizens, a handsome profit. We have a world-class developer who is willing to build a significant project that you will be able to enjoy for 12 months of the year. The 4 years of council, this council, has added over $18 million to the reserves, yet the opposition will tell you that we're spending all the money. Our future is finally in our hands, and we have control of it for the first time, and because of the hard work of the majority of this council. We borrowed $13 million for a project at the very low rate of 3% over 25 years. You will be paid more than that on the first of 3 phases in the fall of 2019. We can invest that money at a much higher rate than we borrowed it and earn you tens of millions of dollars in interest, which will go a long way to pay for our new arena and our library. Folks, this is an affordable, realistic, sustainable, and financial viable plan. And you will choose whether we go forward with that if you choose to vote for a progressive council, forward thinking going forward. I also promised to work tirelessly to bring a high school to Wasaga Beach, and we have the support of the Premier, we have the support of 2 ministers of education, and 15 mayors and deputy mayors throughout this county, all of which have said, once in an unprecedented letter to the board, to build a high school in Wasaga Beach now. The process is to bring about positive change. It's extremely demanding on the staff. However, our professional staff in Wasaga Beach are second to none in education, in experience, and in talent. We rely on their expertise each and every day, and I could not be more proud of the staff of Wasaga Beach and the hard work and dedication they pay to you, our citizens. This is an amazing, experienced professional group of people that ensure that this council follows every rule, every policy, and every procedure in everything we do. As mayor, I would be remiss if I didn't draw attention to the many citizens in our community who have volunteered their time and their energy to work on our committees to move our town forward. Due to their efforts, we are on the cusp of realizing the potential of our community. Tourism is coming back. Our master plan is about to be implemented, and the community hub will soon be a reality. And I believe that our high school will be here soon. We are a very important point in the history of our community, and you will decide our future, and you'll decide who leads us into the future. So will you decide to have leadership that will have us stand still as we have for 8 to 12 years before this council? Or do you want true vision, leadership, and integrity that will absolutely move us forward to a more vibrant and complete community? United we stand, divided we fall. Vote to move onward and upward. We can and we will together build a better Wasaga Beach. I humbly thank you for the honor and privilege to serve you for the last 4 years, and I respectfully ask for your support in this election. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Brian. We'll now move on to the candidates for Deputy Mayor. They also get 4 to 6 minutes to make their opening remarks. We'll start with Sylvia Bray. Sylvia.
Hello, I'm Sylvia Bray, and I'm asking for your vote for the position of Deputy Mayor. Many of you may recognize me as the owner of Grandma's Beach Treats, or the cafe at the Collingwood Airport. I'm also a mother, a grandmother, an entrepreneur, and an animal lover. You might have met me at the soccer fields or the arena because we raised 4 children in Wasaga Beach since 2003. They attended Worsley, CCI, and John Vanier. Today, my grandson attends Birchview Dunes. We all know Wasaga Beach needs a high school, and I will continue to advocate so my grandson doesn't get bussed out of town when it's his turn to go. I believe I am the best candidate to represent you as your deputy mayor, and I think it's important to let you know a little bit more about my work experience. Before I moved to Wasaga Beach, I spent 18 years with Tetra Pak, a multinational packaging company best known as the inventors of the juice box. I traveled the world managing a highly skilled team and worked on many unique marketing and sales projects. Through acquisition, we grew, and I joined the software implementation team to blend 3 production facilities and their IT systems into one as we worked towards and achieved ISO certification. Tetra Pak was an amazing place to grow up and to work. I've also worked in the automotive sector, market research, and IT consulting industries before finally joining the rank of self-employed. Moving to Wasaga Beach, I made the decision to put family first, which eventually led to my purchase of 100% of the Baymark Holdings Incorporated shares. We operate Grandma's Beach Treats as our primary business. I understand many of the challenges of our local business community and seasonality because I live it every single day. Our incredible staff ensure we win awards at butter tart festivals all around Ontario, bringing attention back to Wasaga Beach. We've been mentioned in National Geographic, the Toronto Star, and Toronto Life magazines. Surrounding myself with talented, dedicated employees allows me to concentrate on the other opportunities, which include being your next deputy mayor. It's my fundamental belief that your voice matters, and I will continue to listen to you, the residents, and the business owners. Listening is the best way to ensure my comments and my voting record represent your views. For years now, most council meetings have been recorded and shared on Rogers TV. This term of council, we went one step further, and we now share some of our committee meetings. My motion to record and store the all in-camera meetings as well was successful. I've repeatedly asked to have all advisory committee and board meetings live streamed and stored for ease of public access. However, the majority of our current council has voted against this. Deputy Mayor Bifolchi was the only member to consistently support my efforts in this attempt for open, transparent, and accessible government. Wasaga Beach is growing rapidly, and there's much the next council needs to consider. I firmly believe that every member of this council has to work towards the needs of those in the West End, the East End, and those in the middle. I'm not against a downtown. However, I do believe in organic growth, meaning that the development should grow at a pace the town can support. I don't believe municipal tax dollars should be used to build commercial spaces that are typically built by developers. I remain excited about developing our beachfront. However, I do not think Phase 1 should be condos on Beach 2. I would love to see the town's properties at Beach 1 be our first priority. One of my objections to the beachfront purchase in 2015 was our lack of a plan. My request to develop a business plan remains on the unfinished business section of our council agenda to this date. And it's hard to work efficiently and effectively when you don't have a plan. During the 2014 election, I supported the development of a proposed light industrial park at the West End, and I still do. I believe there is a need and that they would support small businesses and create additional employment opportunities. It's discouraging when a business such as Parkbridge moves out of town because they're growing. We need to build relationships to ensure our large employers want to stay in Wasaga Beach, and I would like to see economic development activities expand to all areas and to all businesses. When we live in a community that relies on tourism, we must demonstrate to the world that we're a safe community. To continue to attract new families to live in Wasaga Beach, we must provide them with a safe, active, and age-friendly community. Our next council needs to ensure all three are a priority. Community concern that has remained as an item of unfinished business is to improve the inventory of tourist accommodation and review the tourist accommodation motels that are currently used for long-term rentals. Everyone deserves to live in dignity. The new affordable housing project on Zoo Park is a start, but we must do more. A walk-in medical clinic has been approved on a trial basis, and I look forward to the day it opens, and I hope the statistics gathered during the pilot period are sufficient to convince the medical community that the need is real and Wasaga Beach needs a permanent walk-in clinic. I could speak about WDI and the Coward Gate incident that it led to, probably for hours, but I will not do that today. I have zero tolerance for bully behavior. I encourage everyone with any doubts to go back and review the truth. The videos of those committee and council meetings are all there for all to see. Wasaga Distribution is not only a strong company financially, but it's a major employer, a valuable service, and it puts the residents of Wasaga Beach in control of one of our most valuable assets. I will not support the sale of this asset in the future. Our next council will make decisions about a new library, a cultural center, and a community hub. Municipal development must be done in a financially responsible manner to ensure that we do not increase taxes beyond what our residents can afford. These are my highlights, or some of these are my highlights. For me, one was the renaming of Powerline Road to Veterans Way. They're more and out of time, so I respectfully ask on October 22nd that you vote for free-thinking individuals who represent your values. Thank you.
Next up, we have your other candidate for Deputy Mayor, Bonnie Smith. Bonnie.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here today to respectfully ask for your support to elect me as your Deputy Mayor. It has been an honor to serve you this term as Councilor and previously as your Economic Development Officer. This is an important time in the history of Wasaga Beach. We need strong leadership at the council table. This is why I am running for Deputy Mayor. We need a council with members who are ready to continue the positive initiatives, vision, and direction that this current council has approved. We are now on a path to make Wasaga Beach a premier destination for residents, businesses, and tourists, one we can all be proud of. With 20 years proven track record, I understand the benefits of visioning and long-term planning. As the town's EDO, I was a key player in attracting the YMCA, big box stores, and many successful franchises. Some of it wasn't easy. For example, before I was your EDO, I worked as Senior Public Affairs Officer for the City of Mississauga. I volunteered on the capital campaign team for the new YMCA. Having these contacts, I approached then Mayor Borthwick and asked if he would like me to pursue the opportunity to have a Y in Wasaga Beach. He said yes, so I contacted them and they agreed to look at the numbers. Funding was offered by the federal and provincial government and we were approved for the project. Ladies and gentlemen, I raise this because there are some candidates here on this stage and there are people in the audience that voted against this. One of them even said we don't need a pool, they can swim in the bay. It was a trying time for me. I was being abused on email and threatened to lose my job. But I persevered because I knew it was good for the community. Thank goodness Facebook wasn't available then. Had it not been for the support of 4 of our 7 members of council, the Y and this building would not be here today. Now, some of you may say this and other initiatives I brought to the table are past accomplishments. But aren't we still using those facilities, using those stores and those businesses? If I have the privilege to be elected as your deputy mayor, I will continue to address your wants and needs and planning for the future. I have listened to you in the past and will continue listening to you, only this time as your deputy mayor. Other communities around us are working on renewing their downtowns and beachfronts, waterfronts. Let's continue to move forward in a progressive and sustainable way to create a downtown and world-class beachfront. I would like to set the record straight on Beach Area 2 because I was there for 12 years. This property always was designated to replace a number of accommodations and residences that were expropriated by the province. Previous council supported my creating a request for qualifications for the property. Signs were placed on it and stood for several years. Even the federal and provincial governments helped to market the property. I recall 2 offers. Both wanted the property for $0, and one couldn't pass the financial audit. Today, we have a reputable developer, Fram, at the table, who is offering to buy the property at no cost to the taxpayers, and one who would meet the requirements in the original RFQ. Ladies and gentlemen, tourism is our only industry and is the fastest growing industry in the world. I will continue to support our tourism industry. Having the longest freshwater beach opens a world of opportunities for residents, businesses, and visitors. The time is now, the opportunity is now, and the future is now. Our youth and generations to come are our future. Let's continue to advocate for a high school, youth programming, an arena, and library in our new community hub. As our population continues to grow, residents, including our seniors, will need access to more services, retail, affordable housing, and for seniors, long-term care. In 2016, Council and community partners completed an age-friendly community plan. Many of you may have been involved. 18 goals were identified as priorities. This committee was honored to receive an award from the province for their initiatives. As council rep on the age-friendly committee, I have been working behind the scenes with the county, the local health integrated network, our MPP Jim Wilson, to develop a strategy to bring a long-term care facility here. Tomorrow is National Seniors Day. It is being celebrated with the opening of the new Seniors Active Living Center behind the youth center. Thanks to provincial grant, there's an opportunity for both seniors and youth to work together. You can call the RecPlex for more information on the free programs that will be offered at the unit. Now please let me address the elephant in the room, Wasaga distribution. First, WDI was never, and I repeat, never for sale. Very early before this came to council, very early before I came to this council, I received calls from 2 former councilors, Tim North and Morley Berkovich. Oh dear.
Thank you.
I respectfully ask for your vote for Deputy Mayor.
So we'll now move on to the candidates for councillor. These candidates will each get 2 minutes to make their opening remarks. Once again, we'll have a reminder of 20 seconds, 5 seconds, and then you'll hear the bell, at which point I ask that the audience join us in a round of applause for the candidate. We'll go alphabetically one more time. We're going to start with Steve Andrew Anthony.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Steve Anthony, and I'm running for councillor in the October election. As for myself, I'm a past director of the Wasaga Beach Snowmobile Club, a volunteer with the food bank, and a member of the Horseshoe Club. I moved to Wasaga Beach after 29 and a half years with the TTC. While there, I was elected and served 3 terms as director of the pension board, where we were responsible for $4 billion for 12,000 employees. My goals include preserving one of our greatest assets, which is Wasaga Beach Hydro. Last year, along with other concerned residents, worked extremely hard to prevent the sale of this utility and save jobs. There is a need to end secretive behind closed door meetings. All meetings should be open to the public and all members of council, as transparency is a must. I will work with council to look at options pertaining to affordable housing with the development of an arena and a library. As a councillor, I will encourage private enterprise to look at our town to build a movie theater, a bowling alley. If elected, I will provide you with accountability, responsibility, and service. I will be available to you. In closing, I would like to ask you for your support on October 22nd. Vote for Steve Anthony. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Next up, Joe Belanger. Joe.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. I'm here today to ask for your vote in October to give me the honor and privilege to serve you and Wasaga Beach again for another 4 years. There'll be a lot of people asking for your vote today, but I say actions speak louder than words. I believe one's track record is the best indicator for future performance. Your current council has worked hard. We've completed a master plan, and we are well positioned for positive growth and change in our community, and we can have shovels in the ground in the near future. Our community is 91% reliant on residential property tax, and we will implement strategies to ensure that municipal taxes stay at or below inflation. We are working hard to design and build a community hub that includes a double pad arena, a library, and a cultural center. We will develop a new downtown. Most of you have seen the images for phase 1 of the square area, and it is absolutely beautiful. We will redevelop our beachfront, and we will revitalize our #1 industry, tourism. We will continue to work diligently to get the high school our children so desperately deserve on the capital priority list. We will also improve housing options and services. We currently have 99 units of affordable housing under construction on Zoo Park Road with room for another 99 units. I respectfully ask you for your vote in October so that I can work to make Wasaga Beach a world-class place to live, first and foremost, and a world-class tourist destination. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. Next, we have Robert Bortlitz. Robert.
Good afternoon, Wasaga. My name is Robert Bortlitz. I was questioned recently about my campaign slogan, sensible, affordable, sustainable growth. It's just a few bullet points, they said. So let's have a look. Sensible would be to fix a leaky roof before you do a kitchen renovation. Affordable would be to buy a Toyota Camry, even though that Lexus is looking really sweet, and then socking away the rest of the money for the kids' college fund. Sustainable is having one less takeout coffee so you can afford regular oil changes on that new Camry and keep it going for 15 years. How does this apply to Wasaga Beach? If we had just put the money from all our expert studies towards, say, a roofed pavilion at the main beach, we could today be hosting weddings, fall harvest fairs, spring RV shows, and in the winter pour some ice down and head covered skating. Seem sensible? If we had not decided to put all our eggs in one basket and spend an estimated $6 million on our downtown dreams, we could afford to build nice new washrooms at the beach and have a few playgrounds in some of our outer subdivisions. If we work on constantly improving what we have and finding more efficiencies in our service, we can sustain ourselves without tax increases for decades to come. We are very fortunate that some of our earliest mayors and councillors like Ed Longewin and Walter Borthwick had the same ideas. That made this town a very desirable place to live and resulted in some phenomenal growth. If we focus on intrinsic growth instead of sprawl, we will be sustainable. Vote for sensible change. Vote for Robert Bortless. Thank you.
Moving on, we're going to have Ron Ego next. Ron.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I can't possibly tell you in 2 minutes what I've accomplished in 4 years or what I've got planned for the next 4. So I'm going to give you the Coles notes. Focus, buckle up, we're going to be quick here. Urban Plan, 2014. I said we need a vision that includes the evolution of a downtown with a main street. Vision is now becoming a reality. Representation by ward. I firmly believe it is a fair way for all voters to be heard. 13 out of 16 municipalities in Simcoe rely on the ward system. I have successfully fought to place this in the hands of the voters by getting it on the 2018 ballot. Whether for or against, please remember, it was Ron Ego who got this into your hands, and a vote for my re-election will assure I do my utmost to always serve the resident majority. Walk-in medical clinic, wow. I promised this was going to happen, and it has. I pulled out every resource I have ever known, passports I have sat on, personal friends and acquaintances. I had to peel through numerous levels of government to get the desired results. Meetings began in 2015, and many have been grinding. A lot of effort went into delivering on this promise. I am proud to say the staff is in place, and the clinic will be open at 14 Rambler Drive, second floor, in the next 30 to 40 days. Thank you. What's ahead for the term? Swimming lessons. My background in pro sports has cemented my bullet in physical activity. My first success on council was to provide free outdoor skating to that end. My next goal is to provide free swimming lessons to all the children of Wasaga Beach. Sorry, there was more.
Thank you, Ron. Next up, we have Leslie Farkas. Leslie.
First of all, I'd like to thank you all for coming and showing such an expressed interest in our future. We are certainly at an interesting point in our history, and without a doubt, it's time to put some serious thought and effort into our future. With our once small town now over 20,000 residents and growing at an incredible rate, it is our responsibility to grow in a sustainable manner and to consult all the residents as we set and achieve our goals. The things that we have decided as a community that are at the top of the priority list must remain there. Things like an arena, a high school, long-term health care, a library, medical centers, and more sidewalks must remain at the top of the list. Could you imagine what a high school would mean for our town? Now imagine a new arena, and in that new arena playing our high school hockey team in the finals. Can you imagine what that would mean for our town pride? Now, although many people will tell you that tourism is not our only industry, I can assure you it has been and will continue to be the main industry in our community. In fact, tourism is now the largest industry in the entire world. It employs more people than any other industry by far, and I feel it would be irresponsible of us to turn our backs on this industry. In fact, I believe it would be fatal for us as a town. As we move forward, I can. Let me say that we are the home of the world's longest freshwater beach. And I can tell you that the possibilities are endless. With proper dedication and a proper plan, there is no reason why Wasaga Beach cannot become a world-class destination, not just for the tourists, but for the residents contained within. I believe in order to achieve this, we must set the bar high. We must set standards for the businesses located in our tourist areas, because I believe when people leave Wasaga Beach, they should not talk about Wasaga Beach. They should sing about Wasaga Beach. With a proper plan and forward motion, there's no reason Wasaga Beach cannot become even greater than it has been. I humbly request your vote for position of councillor in the best place to live, work, and play. Vote Leslie R. Farkas.
That's right. Next up, David Foster. David.
Good afternoon, I'm David Foster. Thanks to the Chamber for organizing this, and certainly thanks to all of you for coming out to hear our opinions. I've had the honor of serving 3 terms on your council, both as a councillor and as your deputy mayor. In 2014, I ran for mayor, but came up short. I believe the experience I received during my 11 years on council, doing the job, and being accountable for every decision I made, has provided me a unique skill set to help move our town forward in a responsible, reasonable, and realistic manner. I'm proud of what was accomplished, yet I recognize there is so much more we can become. Over the past 4 years, I've watched closely the progress and challenges our present council has faced. I don't have time to dwell on specifics now, however, I believe it's clear that we need to do better, much better. We must apply common sense, accountability, integrity, and balance to every decision we make. Further, we must have leaders who understand and follow policies, procedures, and regulations that govern the important work we do on your behalf. We must foster a climate of mutual respect and trust at the council table and beyond. We don't have to agree on everything, but we have to listen carefully to contrary positions, because more often than not, the solution lies somewhere in between. I truly believe that rebuilding respect and trust at the council table is critical to moving forward in a positive manner. There are many challenges and opportunities for us. Ongoing development proposals, preserving our natural environment, aging populations, our relationships with the school board and the MNR are just a few issues. There is no quick fix to any of these, but we cannot ignore them or shirk our responsibilities to take them head on. We have the gift of living in one of the most beautiful places in the world. Our breathtaking sunsets and our amazing people and businesses are fantastic. I invite you to visit my website, wasagadave.com, to get more information on myself and my platform, and I ask for your support.
Thank you, David. Next up, Wendy Fox. Wendy.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Wendy Fox. I hope you feel the same way that I do about our beach, and that it's our natural treasure. Let's protect it from overdevelopment in areas that don't need to be developed. Let's put much love into Beach Area 1, keeping it public use only for all of us to enjoy. And for our downtown, let's sell off small parcels of land to allow local builders and tradesmen to create our downtown. Let's make sure that it looks like a small town, charming downtown, something like maybe Bracebridge and Huntsville, and not of one big development, something that could be risky to taxpayers. In the arena, I'd like to respect the work and preparation of past councils and town staff to bring the arena to Klondike Sports Park. Let's reserve Main Street for even more quaint and charming shopping, with no expropriation or displacement of families who have summered here for generations. And of course, you can count on me to keep our taxes low, to stay on budget, to support a high school, the hospital, emergency services, affordable housing, protect our clean water, our environment, and our wildlife. and you can count on me not to sell our hydro. I'd like to explore water safety programs, and I'd like to explore referendum technology. And why? Because we live in a country that has an amazing gift. Not every country has it. We have it because millions of men, women, and even children lost their lives for it. It's called democracy. And true democracy is what most of 20,000 people want, not necessarily of what the majority of 7 people want. So please, let's be very careful of who we vote in so that they represent all 20,000 of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Wendy. Next up, we have Mark Kinney. Mark.
Good afternoon. My name is Mark Kinney, and I'd like to be one of your choices for council at this upcoming election. I would like to thank the Wasaga Beach Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event. As a resident of this great town, I've seen a movement where we have become more aware of what our elected officials are doing with our tax dollars. If elected, I'm going to bring more openness to why decisions are made, why I made a decision, and be accountable for my decisions to the people I hope to serve. Accountability, respect, and trust are the foundation cornerstones I'm running my campaign on. And if elected, I will take them with me for the next 4 years. Respect is for the people of the community. For the position of councillor, and if I'm elected, for my fellow councillors, municipal staff, and again, the residents that I hope to serve. Trust should not be given, but earned. And if elected, I will work daily to build trust within our community and outside the community where our residents will benefit. I feel a new council, one that I hope to be part of, will listen to the residents and move our great town forward in a responsible, positive way. I want to keep our beaches for our residents and visitors to enjoy, and our beaches safe for families to visit. But the town of Wasaga Beach is more than beaches. It's families and businesses that work and live here. Those are the people I hope the opportunity to work for and represent on council. If elected, I will support a new arena. I will support a new library and work with our stakeholders to ensure Wasaga Beach gets a new high school as soon as possible and bring independent thinking to council. I believe a safe and healthy council is one that people will want to live with, and I believe the council should be the lead in developing partnerships and engaging stakeholders to ensure Wasaga Beach becomes one of our safest communities. On October 22nd, Election Day, please consider a vote for accountability, respect, and trust. Please vote Mark Kinney for council. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, James Cowbell. James.
I'm a little underdressed, but my name is James Cowbell, and I'm running for council. I recently came up with a different idea of why I'm running. I'm not running for myself, I'm running for the town in the future. So this is why I'm going to ask you to vote for Nina Bifolci, Sylvia Bray, David Foster, Stan Wells, and George Watson. These people have represented you in the past and have done a great job. As far as I'm concerned, I have a background in accounting. I've read the downtown master plan. It's full of holes. It's moving people from the downtown, well, the so-called downtown core. I like to call it the tourism hub, and moving them to other beaches, 3 through 6, and New Wasaga and Allentown. This is going to overpopulate those areas. Also, we need to bring a new high school to Wasaga Beach. I care about all these things. I've been not only a tourist, I've been a seasonal resident. In 1993, I bought my first property with the help of Mark Rattan. And I am now, 2 years ago, a permanent resident and looking to retire here for my future. And I care about that. And that's the reason I'm asking you to support the people that I ask you to support.
in the future, again, we need to bring a high school, and I see it going to Klondike Park, along with hopefully a school auditorium that can act as a community theater as well. And this will bring entertainment to the town, and we need to redevelop the main beach as well. Thank you, and vote in October.
James Cobell, thank you. Next up, Kurt Lehman. Kurt.
Good afternoon. I am Kurt Lehman and have 31 years business experience, but many of you know me as the International Canadian Operatic tenor and actor. My education was in business, accounting, management, music, and acting, predominantly in Winnipeg, Indiana, New York City, and Italy. My current business is in residential and commercial development. I work with many of the town's departments, and this experience would be a great asset at the council table. My focus is on the local economy. We lost too many businesses and others are struggling. The Fraser Institute has our local schools rating poorly and was advised by administration that there are needs. They all need our help, not just talk, but solutions and results. As one of the directors of the Wasaga Society for the Arts, we are presently working on the development of the culture, a creative economy. We have many talented local arts individuals and organizations and are working with the town in the development of the cultural center. A study this year found that the direct economic impact of culture industries in Canada was $59 billion, 8 times larger than the sports industries. Let's bring those dollars and jobs to Wasaga Beach. My entire platform can be found online. The other day, my 8-year-old son asked me in reference to the election, "Daddy, are you going to win?" Before I even answered, he said, "Daddy, you need to believe. You need to believe. The very root of what we do in life starts with belief. If we believe, we will take steps and a course of actions in order to achieve. And when we believe and achieve, we will be the best place to live, work, and play. I will not just be your voice, but your fighter at the council table. We will make Wasaga Beach the best place. If you believe it, then together, we will achieve it." Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. David Matthews.
Thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event. I'm David Matthews, and I'd like to thank all for being involved and listening. We have a whole community, and I would like to focus on the priorities that people have brought to me and I agreed with. These priorities are for today, and we can accomplish them without fighting for pettiness. Growth does not happen without desirable accommodations. Blue Mountain has only 2 hotels. The main balance of their accommodations is short-term rental with at least 4,000 units. Without those, Blue Mountain would not have grown to be the economic tourist hub it is today. Cottages have been Wasaga Beach growth since the early 1900s to 2011. In 2011, we could have had a plan for short-term rentals. And what did our council and mayor do? They shut them down. No plan in place for the town to replace the units we lost. So we lost our families. Several candidates running now sat on that council in 2011 who shut this down without a plan. We don't want to make these kinds of decisions again. By not having a short-term rental plan, we have probably lost $11 million in revenue directly to the town coffers. I agree with condos being built on Beach 2, but they must have a short-term rental plan. For an example on how a short-term rental plan would work, please make sure to take one of my handouts or go to my Facebook page, David Matthews for Council. Let's be part of the action. Instead of competing with our neighbors, we need to connect with them. Are we ready for the sale of marijuana? This will be legal next month. The town is responsible to make a plan. where to sell, consume, what zoning, how to distribute, and license it. We do not have a plan. Does anybody know who Amazon is?
Thank you, David. Thank you. That's time. Patrice McCammon. Patrice.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Patrice McCammon. I'm asking for your vote in the October election as councillor. I've been a full-time resident of the beach for 20 years, and my career in business included a stint as the Canadian Federation of Independent Business District Manager. After my retirement, I increased my volunteering efforts with hospice, with Wasaga Beach Blues, and with Rotary. With hospice, I was the fundraising chair during the time that Campbell House was built, and I'm very, very proud of that accomplishment. On the strength of these and other accomplishments, I was awarded the Citizen of the Year in 2014 and the Order of Wasaga Beach in 2015. Skills acquired through my work life, my volunteering, and my fundraising efforts have equipped me well to position me effectively to work with a diverse group of individuals, both with minimum friction and maximum productivity. I pride myself on being a nonpartisan thinker, and I am ready and able to work with any government who desires a bright and progressive future for Wasaga Beach. If elected, I have pledged to conduct myself in a professional and reasonable manner, and not to let personal differences cloud my judgment in areas of government. I support our current downtown plan and believe that it will have great benefits to our community in the future. I'm also committed to the success of our walk-in clinic, the construction of a new high school, the library, and the arena. My long-term priorities include studying ways to provide enhanced housing, and I encourage you to visit my website, tricemccammon.com. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Patrice. Dean Robinson.
Good afternoon. First off, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. I know it's been a rough go at it for the last, 8 weeks. People have been fighting, people have been getting annoyed with each other. We need to stop that. Right off, we need to work together. There's a win-win in this election for everybody, and we've got to find it. If we do find it, we're going to move ahead. We're going to move ahead real fast. I guess I should say where I come from. I am an entrepreneur in this town. When I came to this town, probably about 5 years ago, I had no intentions of opening a business here, but then I seen a need for some telecommunications aspects in this town. Since opening that business, I've secured probably over 20% of this town. 20% of the people in this town actually use my service, which is pretty good, I would think, considering I'm just some kid from the street, just an average person just like you guys. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for a way to bring this council together, a way to bring the town together. I'm to the point now I'm just sick of the divide. We've also got an issue out there, and that issue is our affordable housing. Sure, we've got 99 units coming up, but if you were to go any time down River Road East or anywhere in this town and look around, you're going to see there's more than 99 units that are going to be needed. Not yesterday, not next week, but now. We've got a lot of people out there that are living in the cottage courts, and even if you do go to the affordable housing that we're talking about, they're still not going to be able to afford it. Anyways, my name's Dean Robinson. I hope I can get your vote. Guys, thank you again for coming out.
Thank you, Dean. Alexander Stone is up next. Alexander.
Aloha, fellow Wasagans. My name is Alexander Stone. I grew up here in Wasaga Beach for the most part. I was born in Hearst up in Northern Ontario, moved to New Brunswick when I was 1 year old, and by 4 I was back in Ontario.
Throughout my childhood, I lived in Angus, Stayner, Collingwood, and about a dozen places in Wasaga Beach, from one end to the other. I attended high school at Collingwood CCI, where I excelled at political studies, history, geography, science, and was a gold medal bassist in the national jazz competitions in Canada. Since I was little, I've had a deep passion for politics, astronomy, science, and music. I continue to pursue those passions to this day. Beyond my childhood years, aside from my work experience and my endeavors as a musician, I spent my early 20s traveling Canada, working to gain knowledge, seeking to gain knowledge and inspiration. Part of my drive on these adventures was to learn as much as I could about what Canada is, was, and what it could be, in the hopes that I could one day bring some of that knowledge and inspiration home to Wasaga Beach. From Canadian geology to infrastructure, history to industry, to the unique social nuances which make up a community different from the next, I sought to seek it out and absorb it as if I were paying for a lesson in school. Then again, I suppose life is a learning lesson. I've experienced many different jobs throughout my journey thus far, most of which I have enjoyed and put passion into, from labor to customer service to sales to the mining sector to the green energy sector, and yes, to the music industry. I've certainly experienced a variety, and much like my travels, I desire to learn at each job and experience everything I could before taking that knowledge with me to the next big adventure. Now I find myself in perhaps the most exciting adventure opportunity yet, and a 4-year mission to lead the community. Affordable housing, we have to bring a high school to Wasaga Beach, and I'm running in this election because I feel that I have a bold vision for this town which reflects the true needs and desires of residents. I'm asking you to give me the opportunity to address these needs. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexander. George Watson is up next. George.
I am George Watson. I love my hometown of Wasaga Beach. I served on Wasaga Council for 11 years and remain proud of the cultural and economic improvements and the significant commercial and residential growth realized during those years. Going forward, it is imperative that all residents enjoy the amenities of our community. The proposed downtown plan may have some merit, but I have reservations as it stands. Council is responsible to ensure the tools exist in an atmosphere that encourages growth, and developers are responsible for the costs associated with their development, not the other way around. I also believe there to be a significant financial risk. Fram was shortlisted, but through a bidding process I believe to be less than open or transparent. To date, details remain sketchy about the proposed Main Street reconstruction, traffic, environmental concerns, expropriation, infrastructure, or the future of our gem of green space beach area 2. The agreements between Fram and the municipality must be examined closely to ensure a net benefit for all of our taxpayers before we proceed further. I have no association with Fram, but simply want to ensure that we as taxpayers are protected. Current council has not functioned as a team. The town is essentially polarized. Staff morale is low, many staff resignations in the past 3 years, and of course a councillor resigning in the first year, citing backroom deals and a circus atmosphere. Voting on the future of our community and the composition of our next council begins October 12th. If you want a level of courtesy and professionalism restored at the council table by someone who understands process, has experience you can trust, is committed, focused, and can think independently, then I respectfully ask for your vote. My election platform is watsoncouncil.com for full particulars. Thank you very much.
Thank you, George. Next up, we have Stan Wells. Stan.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. I am here today asking for your support as a councillor. I and my wife Betty have been permanent residents of Wasaga Beach for over 40 years. I have a unique perspective as 3 of our 4 adult children and their spouses live and work or own a business here in town, and we have 2, soon to be 3, grandchildren, both of whom attend school here. I previously served as a councillor from 2003 to 2014. I have over 30 years' experience as a teacher, principal, and supervisory officer with the local county district school board and the provincial Ministry of Education, including 12 years as a teacher and a principal here in Wasaga Beach. I have a commitment to personal integrity, transparency, accountability, and a collaborative, cooperative, agree to disagree agreeably approach to decision-making and problem-solving. I believe we must continue to create a complete, self-sufficient, safe, sustainable, affordable, and livable community. A town where young families can grow and retirees can enjoy the rewards of their working years. We must maintain a balance between wants and needs and between grand visions and realistic goals. I believe we are a town with a tourism industry, not just a tourist town. And we must focus our energies and resources on all of our permanent residents, seasonal residents, across all parts of our town, while recognizing that tourism is a significant part of our economic health. While growth is inevitable and desirable, I think it is important to maintain the unique character of our town and the lifestyle that for years has attracted new residents, rather than pursuing a city-like environment. I will not make any grandiose promises, but I do promise you integrity, transparency, accountability, common sense, a voice of reason, independent thinking, and fiscal responsibility. Please check my website, stanwells2018.ca, and ask you to experience the benefits of experience.
Thank you, Stan. Next up, Richard White. Richard.
Hello, I'm Richard White, running for councillor in Wasaga Beach. When I was 3 years old, my family moved here from England. And shortly after that, their marriage broke up, leaving my mom to raise us 3 boys, primarily as a single mother. But that wasn't going to stop my mom from living her Canadian dream. So she bought some land and she built us a home. With no more help than just a firefighter neighbor next door. She would go to work every day dressed as a secretary, and at night she'd put on a tool belt and she literally built that house with her bare hands. That's my role model. As many of you know, I ran in the last election and I came this close to becoming elected. I am determined to serve my community on council. I grew up in Midhurst and in Elmville, and 7 years ago, Kim and I moved to Wasaga Beach to raise our 3 beautiful daughters. I have built my career as a business leader in the tourism industry, and I have a proven track record for business development. I was here to see Wasaga Beach in its heyday, and sadly watch it lag behind after the fire. Helping our businesses succeed has been a personal mission for me. A number of years ago, my mother started a company that helped people give gifts to charities. And it was through her company that I gave the Collingwood Hospital $10,000. And that's when I started to get involved with the community. At first, it started with fundraising with local service groups, then to providing business support for the Elvis Festival. I was a committee member on the Wasaga Beach Short Film Festival and a committee member on the Wasaga Beach Blues Fest. Today, I serve you as the vice chair of the high school task force. My vision for the future is to build our economy, to create a livable core, develop a tourism worker training program, and have better access to transit and taxis. I will vote to keep your taxes low. On October 22nd, I ask you to elect me, Richard White, for councillor in Wasaga Beach. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. That concludes the candidates for councillor. We'll now proceed to our last few speakers, who are for school board trustees. Hugh Caulfield and Brian McWilliams are unable to attend today, so first up we have Robert Potter. Robert.
Thank you very much, and thanks to the Chamber for having this session, and thanks to you for listening. My name is Rob Potter. Contrary to popular opinion, I'm not related to Harry Potter, nor am I going to turn the school into Hogwarts. But I do want new school construction in Wasaga Beach, a new elementary school and a high school in Wasaga Beach. And why is that so important? Well, as treasurer of the Fighting Owls football alumni, I can see the register that there's very few players that come from Wasaga Beach. And it's not hard to understand when after practice they have to find a way home down the 426. Of course it's hard. Many people think that extracurricular sports in the secondary level are paid by the school board. 10% is. You want to play football for Barrie Eastview, it's $500. You want to play volleyball at Collingwood Collegiate, it's $250 for the student participant. And last year we had to pay 5 football fees for students that really wanted to play, but by the end of the year still couldn't come up with the fees. This is important. This is why you need a high school in Wasaga Beach, so kids can participate and do those activities. Finally, my last point is, I know as president of the Friends of Nancy Island Wasaga Beach Park for the past 17 years, that in Birchview Dunes and Worcester we have great kids that have supported piping plovers, monarch butterflies, cleaning Beach Area 1, doing great things. But some programs are limited and not in every school. I want to see extensive robotics. I want to see programs like Junior Achievement and the Entrepreneurial Venture Program that I taught for several years at Cameron Street in Collingwood, part of every school so that every student can benefit. Thank you for listening. My name's Rob Potter.
You are the candidate for school board trustee, Tanya Snell.
Hello, and thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event, and most importantly for including the school trustee in the conversation. I decided for myself to throw my hat in the ring because I have a grade 7 daughter. She is in the system, and because I was a youth worker with the City of Vancouver for over 8 years, so youth advocacy is at my core. I'm extremely involved in our community as executive with the Wasaga Beach Women's Business Association, and the last 5 years being their president. I'm also an award-winning entrepreneur, and I think my parents and my ex-husband could attest that I'm a great debater. So I think I have some skills for this job. Here are some things I believe. I believe that every young person deserves to go to school in their own community. I also believe that CCI, being the second oldest school in the system, is long overdue to be rebuilt. I don't believe it should be rebuilt as a super school with 1,100 to 1,300 students. We have an alarming rate of mental health issues and other challenges facing our young people, and large schools have big cracks for them to fall through. I also believe that we're missing the opportunity to teach essential life skills to our young people. We also are missing the opportunity to educate and empower our parents with really good workshops to help them to raise successful youth in this crazy digital world. So I ask you, if anything of what I'm saying resonates with you, please connect with me on Facebook, Tanya Snell for School Trustee. And I ask that you talk to your friends and your neighbors in both Wasaga Beach and Collingwood because they vote for this role, and ask them to get involved. It has been 20 years since we have had a local representative to speak for our young people, and it's time. Thank you.
We're going to proceed in backwards alphabetical order, and we're going to start with the school board trustees this time, making our way back through the councilors, deputy mayor, and mayoral candidates. And with that, I think we're ready to get started. Tanya Snell is first up, candidate for school board trustee. So I will read off the question, and your time starts when you begin to answer. How hard will you work to get Wasaga Beach a new high school?
Wow. funny one, you know, because you're working with large systems. And large systems are like tanker trucks. You know, they have to turn slowly or else they jackknife. And I think, you know, the community has been working very diligently, especially in the last 4 years, in starting with the task force, to really be loud and vocal about the need and due need for a high school in Wasaga Beach. I think whomever gets this role needs to work hand in hand with that organization and group to have a combined voice going forward with the school board. I think also too that we're still missing the opportunity to really get parents and young people involved and vocalizing the need and overdue need for a high school. So if I'm elected, that's where I would start, is let's get the families involved. Thank you.
Next up, Rob Potter. Rob, how do you plan to involve residents in the decision-making process in our town to obtain a high school?
I think the people have already spoken and been very clear they want a high school. I think what needs to happen is to convince the board of the need for the high school in Wasaga Beach. And I think the whole planning process needs to involve council as well as citizens and citizens meetings to get that done. Now I know, having been a teacher, I actually taught the associate director's children, Mr. Dance. I've worked with 2 of the superintendents in Collingwood that are from Collingwood. So I think that I have some ability to make sure that Wasaga Beach and its high school becomes important. Right now, the board lists Fanning of Alliston as the next school for development. It's the oldest. CCI in 1954 is the second oldest. And I sure can't see CCI being redeveloped before a Wasaga Beach High School is put in place. The numbers are now to the point that works. Thank you.
Moving on to the candidates for councillor. Once again, we're proceeding in reverse alphabetical order here until we get to the deputy mayor and mayoral candidates, at which point, if we have time for a second round of questions, we'll proceed alphabetically again. First up is Richard White. Richard. I've heard you mention transit in your speeches. What is your plan in regards to transit?
Thank you very much. Great question. You know, I drive to work, like most of you. In the mornings, I go down Knox and then up Sunnydale Road to the highway. And out on that corner, there's a gentleman who has the same schedule as me, but he takes the bus. I've seen him in town. He works down at the main end. In the summertime, it's easy for him to stand back from the road. In the wintertime, when they plow the snow on that corner, he's damn near in the middle of the road, risking his life to get to work. Our town's 14 kilometers long, and we need to make sure that we continuously grow our access to transit so that people can get into it. And second of all, I was having a conversation with somebody about getting a taxi. Everyone here knows how difficult it is to get a taxi in Wasaga Beach. But I met with this one resident who was in a wheelchair. Did you know that there's not a single taxi in Wasaga Beach that you can get into with a wheelchair? We need to put these stakeholders together and find a solution to make taxis profitable and accessible for everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Richard. Stan Wells. Stan, how do you feel about the transportation options currently available in our city? Do we have enough options? If not, what will you do to increase those?
I was fortunate to be on council when we actually initiated the transit system we have now, and I'm very proud of that. I think, though, there is opportunity to expand that system, to take it into other areas of the community, feeding perhaps more frequently both ends of Wasaga Beach, the east end and the west end. I was also part of creating the link system to Collingwood, and again, I'm very proud of that system. So the transit system for me is an expandable item. We can start to take it down through Klondike Park to the sports park and back up again. We can also start to encourage taxi service in Wasaga Beach. Right now, we're very restrictive in our ability to allow taxi services. We need to look at some of the other options, whether Uber's the right thing or something like that. But we need to look at other options to provide transportation for individuals, and as it's already been mentioned, for those with disabilities. So hopefully, with the support of the rest of council, we can expand upon what we have and make it a lot better. Thanks.
Thank you, Stan. George Watson. George, in respect of the Tourist Destination Management Plan, if you are elected to council, do you agree with the suggestion of a tourist tax?
I saw that proposal come forward from a new employee from the town, and I do not agree with a tourism destination tax. It's not feasible. I don't think people want it, and I don't think it's going to help increase tourism in Wasaga Beach. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Alexander Stone. Alexander, name 3 skills that you have that would be an asset if you were elected.
Communication. I love to chat with residents about all sorts of different issues. Media, social media. I'm proficient and good at using that kind of thing. I understand politics since I was young. Yeah, I have a listening ear, so any issues over the term, you can easily talk to me about it, and I'll deeply consider anything.
Thank you, Alexander. Dean Robinson. Dean, a new arena is proposed to be constructed in the next term of council. Where and why do you think it should be located?
Good question. I personally believe that it should be at the sports park. The reason being is we've got the land there. If we were to put if we put the arena downtown, we've got to look at parking as well as the travel back and forth. Now, are we going to be able to travel along into the downtown core during a game, during whatever? What happens if we have summer games? And it's going to happen. Are we going to be able to compensate you, the general public, being able to get down to that arena as well as the tourists coming up to the beach? We all know what happens on a Sunday night or on a Sunday day during a hot weather time. We can have anywhere from 100,000 people sitting on the beach. What happens if we turn around and we have something happening the same night and our residents of the town want to get to it? It's just not going to happen. You're not going to have any parking. At least out at the sports park, you're going to have the parking. It's already set up. Let's use it.
Thank you, Dean. Patrice McCammon.
I hear I wasn't close enough to the mic before, so I'll try a little better.
Patrice, do you support the rezoning of areas of Marlwood Golf Course from open space to residential to accommodate 65 building lots?
That's a question that's very, very complicated. I understand that the owners of Marlwood have done all of their due diligence, and if the council were to make the decision to oppose them going forward, that they would probably go to the OMB, and that would cost the town probably $250,000. And that's 1% of your taxes, by the way. So I'm not sure. I think I have to learn more about it before I can make a decision on that.
Thank you, Patrice. David Matthews. David, what does affordable housing mean to you?
Affordable housing means to me that our community is affordable for everybody to live here. It doesn't mean social housing. I'm a firm believer right now that we can lower a lot of the rates through the tier system for a developer to start building houses that range between $250,000 to $350,000, so every working person in the beach has an opportunity to get a house. I honestly believe that if we don't do something about this with the development that the beach is doing, we will not have workers to fill those jobs, just like the problems they have at Blue Mountain.
Thank you, David. Kurt Lehman. Kurt, do you support the building of new facilities in one area or spread out in different parts of the town? Why?
That's a loaded question. Basically, speaking from experience, I grew up in Winnipeg, and we face some of these same challenges. Stadiums, arenas. Do you build them on the suburbs? Do you put them in the downtown location? My preference is the way development is going in many cities. I've traveled all over the world, and the way a lot of the developments are happening now is that they are revitalizing the downtowns. Downtowns have been dying. Winnipeg, for instance, had a horrible reputation. They brought those things back to downtown. The parking has, of course, everybody thought parking was going to be an issue. They were using all the parking lots that were there. It was a great thing. It was a success for the town of or city of Winnipeg. Of course, I'm a big advocate for the cultural center coming from the arts. That needs to be in a centralized location, of course, in the hub of a city. I think it's a good thing to have everything together in one location. Parking, all the facilities, infrastructure is in one place. Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. James Cobell. James, what's more important for our town right now? Building new homes and commercial space, or rehabbing and expanding and better utilizing our existing homes and storefronts?
Oh, okay. Right now, that's a 50-50 for me. I think we need to revitalize what we have, but I think we're missing a lot. In the 2007, when we lost the main drag and the buildings down there, that they're a key element to our future. So I have to say that there's a little of both in those ones. But if we need to clean up what we have and make it family friendly for our tourism, and also bring in better restaurants to the people here, and accommodations and activities. As far as building, I see the downtown beach one as being a key element to going forward, especially with our tourism, and it is our #1 industry. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Mark Kinney. Mark, what can you offer beyond your police background in terms of new ideas?
Well, as far as new ideas go, yes, I spent 31 years as a police officer, but my family moved here in '61, and I've seen a lot of changes throughout the community. One of the key aspects that I've done really is I enjoy listening to people, and I think that's what a council should do. We had one of our school people talk about mental issues in that. I feel that a safe community is also a healthy one, and I bring experience from a very situational table, which I can explain in private how that works, and some of the initiatives that we've tried within our community to make it a safer place. So those are some of my strengths I bring forward, and at the end of the day, I want to raise my grandchild here.
Thank you, Mark. Wendy Fox. Wendy, do you support the building of condos at Beach Area 2, and why?
No, actually, I do not. I'm from North Bay, Ontario, and I'll give you a couple of examples. I believe that the condos at Beach Area 2 could limit our accessibility to the water. I live on a street called Marsh Park Drive when I was younger, and at the end of our street, we had accessibility to the water. They had taken down a small hotel that was there and put up a 4-story condo building. After that, the people that lived in that condo development gave everyone that tried to swim there a hard time. They would come down, they would scream at people, they would say it was private. They even went so far as to tie up big dogs with long leashes to not allow us to swim there. And another example is one of our neighboring beaches, Deanley Beach. Years ago, they put out large rocks along their beach to allow people not to use that. So no, I think I'd like to see public use only. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. David Foster. David, as a citizens group concerned about environmental impact of our economic development, what is the position on the role of environmental impact statements on development?
Thank you. It's a good question. It's a complex question. But basically, when you have any development coming in, and our council dealt with this extensively, you have to look and say, what's the byproduct of it? Where does water go? Where does sewer go? What's it doing to the environment, trees, etc.? It's critical for every piece of planning, whether it's residential or commercial, that the town look at what the net impact is on the environment. We cannot, and I strongly believe that the greatest asset we have is the environment we have, our beach and all that. So we have to do everything we can do to preserve it and make responsible decisions on what goes where and what goes down in order for something to go up. So these are hugely important items to any kind of development, commercial or residential, going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Leslie Farkas. What accomplishments are you most proud of in the last 4 years, professionally and personally?
Well, I can honestly say that one of the obviously most proud moments for me in the past couple of years has been the birth of my daughter, and now obviously I have a son on the way. But to cap that, to say that my proud moment is not that only, is the fact that we started a business while having a baby, when everybody told us we couldn't do it. We not only started a business while having a baby and everybody told us we couldn't do it, we developed it in 3 short years to being one of the best skydive centers in the entire country and the reputation to back it up.
Thank you, Leslie. Ron Ego. Ron, what is your feeling on setting term limits for each position on council, and what, if any, do you feel is an appropriate number of terms?
Pardon? Well, if it's me, I'd like it for life, okay? I mean, first of all, I'm going to touch on the ward system because that's why I think it's very important for the citizens out here. With the ward system, what happens is everybody gets fair representation from the east end of Wasaga Beach to the west end of Wasaga Beach. You can say what you want about the problems, but I'll tell you, I'm going to vote for myself because in the east end, the things that have been done in this term since I come from the east end of the beach, not only do I represent all of Wasaga Beach, but with the ward system, the people have the privilege of going to their council and making arrangements with their council to try to do something for the people in that area. Representation by council, I think, getting to the question is, I think that 2 terms is plenty. I think that after 2 terms, you've done all you can do. You get wore out. You also, at that time, you're not focused on the residents as much as you should be. So I think 2 terms for any councillor or mayor, deputy mayor is that length of time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ron. Robert Bortless. Robert, is it more important for council to be united in every decision, or is it more important that issues are debated? Explain your reasoning.
Definitely debated. One of the reasons why I'm running, a lot of you know that I'm an independent thinker. A lot of you have asked me to run. I think personally, from my point of view, being a councillor is not about presenting ideas and making decisions. It's about listening to the people, figuring out what the majority want, and carrying that out in a respectful manner.
Thank you, Robert. Joe Belanger. Joe, what is your position on Wasaga distributing? Sell or keep, if it comes up in the future?
If you go to electjoebelanger.com, you'll see on my blog page that unequivocally over the next term of council, WDI is not for sale. We've done our due diligence. We voted 7-0 to grow and retain our utility, and we heard the residents loud and clear that that was your wish.
Thank you, Joe. Steve Anthony. Steve, do you agree with the creation of a committee that is solely focused on the tourism industry?
One committee. Yeah, you need a committee. That there's a lot of committees that we have, as you know, but it's important to have a committee that would be focused on tourism. Yes.
Okay, that brings us to the end of the list of candidates for councillor. We're going to move on to deputy mayoral candidates, starting with Bonnie Smith. Bonnie, what accomplishments are you most proud of in the last 4 years, professionally and personally?
Well, professionally, I am very proud of the work that we've done with the Age-Friendly Committee and a lot of the new steering committees that Council has supported. And I'm also very proud that we have been very open to the public. We've had a number of public meetings over a lot of major issues that need to be addressed. And I believe that the town plan is a very good one with the beachfront development where we've had this place full with people. What I'd like to see is the high school, and I was very disappointed with the turnout that we had for open house for the high school. But I believe that going forward, there's a lot of initiatives council has started, and with your vote, we can carry those forward.
Thank you, Bonnie. Sylvia Bray. Sylvia, do you feel like the downtown was rushed? If so, what changes would you propose?
Yes, I do. I think that not necessarily the downtown plan, but the process to develop that plan, the process was rushed. I think steps were skipped. I think perhaps some of the integrity issues that we're discussing now came up at the speed at which we rushed through the downtown plan, which is absolutely beautiful book. It's a lot of pretty pictures, but we're out there selling pictures. It isn't a business plan at this point. It's a sales presentation. So I do feel that it was rushed. I do think the next council needs to analyze it and really try to put some concrete numbers. You can't stand up and say it's going to create 1,400 jobs, because as soon as we questioned where they came from, there was no answer. The first presentation that we've seen for this downtown plan is 9 commercial units, small mom and pops, and I don't hire 200 or 300 people in my mom and pop. I have 25 employees, but I don't have 100. So I'm not sure where the numbers come through. I think we need some integrity.
Thank you, Sylvia. We'll now move on to the mayoral candidates, starting with Brian Smith. Brian, do you oppose or support cannabis stores? How can we deal with smoking on public beaches?
Well, it's a happy topic. Ladies and gentlemen, I think just recently at County Council, I actually moved a notice of motion that County Council will deal with at their next meeting with respect to this. We have 16 municipalities in the county of Simcoe, and we're all going to have to spend time, effort, and dollars, your dollars, to decide how we're going to deal with this cannabis. And so my motion has asked the county to deal with this at the county level, who represents all of our communities, to save us all the time, effort, and a lot of dollars to come up with a county-wide program so as that it's the same for most or all communities. With respect to the sale of it, I will tell you this. If we don't have sales of cannabis in Wasaga Beach, they'll be buying into any other community around us, and we'll be losing those economic dollars again. So do I support it? I would support the sale of it, but it has to be heavily regulated, and we have a lot of work to do in a very short period of time, thanks to our friends at the province, for mandating this and pushing it to us so quickly. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Nina Bifulci. Nina, what is your alternative plan for a downtown development, and have you chosen a different developer?
Good question. No, I have no developers lined up. I don't believe the plan as it sits today is beneficial to our community. We have buildings on Beach 1 that we as a town have purchased. Over and above what they cost to buy, that reserve is now in the hole $3 million. So I believe that we need to be starting with Beach Area 1 and building it there, but no developers are lined up at this time. And I do believe that you need more than one developer and section it off into parcels, because if one doesn't do well, doesn't make the sales that they hope to make, then at least you have others that are continuing on with the projects. Thank you.
Nina, I'm going to get you to stay right there. I'm going to bring you back up, because we're going to proceed alphabetically again with the second round of questions.
Pressure.
Okay, what financial research and funding plans do you have to ensure no tax increases? And does that mean canceling downtown plans?
I think I don't have an answer for that. I think we, as a council, we work with our Treasury Department. I think until we have the plans laid out before us with those costs, it's really hard to come up with a financial plan. So as a previous speaker has said, we need to know what those plans are before we can determine how we move forward, because we need the costs of it. We don't have that right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. Brian Smith. Brian, what is your feeling about term limits for council positions, and how could we implement this?
Well, I'll start by saying I wish I could answer all the questions. I wish we could have a debate, but term limits. Ladies and gentlemen,
this is not a debate.
As I indicated when I first put my hand up to run for mayor of this beautiful community, I said then I would only run for 2 terms, because I'm a big believer in term limits. I believe that this is a very difficult job, both for this council, for the new council coming, and for councils in the past. And what I've seen in my life, when I look at smaller communities especially, but provincial and federal government, people are there far too long, they run out of steam, they run out of ideas, and they run out of the ability to continue to move the community forward at a pace it should go. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Back to the candidates for Deputy Mayor, starting with Sylvia Bray. Sylvia, do you support the building of condos at Beach Area 2?
The current version that we have seen, I don't think should be phase one of our development. We own a lot of property, we spend a lot of money, we lose a lot of money every year to sustain those buildings. And the pretty pictures that I talked about earlier that we've seen, they weren't the condos that we saw at the last public meeting. So I think to start there is a mistake. I think we need to get some community, we need to get clean bathrooms, we need to get splash pads, we need to get playgrounds for children, a boardwalk. We need to give tourists a reason to come back. 183 condos is not going to improve our tourism. Nobody comes to a town anywhere for a condo. You might stay for a couple of days, but when there's nothing to do, you're not going to come back. So I don't think it's phase one, no.
Thank you, Sylvia. Bonnie Smith. Bonnie, name 3 skills that you have that would be an asset if you were elected to council or as deputy mayor.
Thank you. I have the leadership skills, I have vision, I've always looked after the needs and wants of the residents. I'm a team player. Unfortunately, this council for the last term has been very disappointing. But I also think that my integrity is, I abide by the code of conduct and the policies and procedures of council. And I will always keep my integrity there. And if I tell you something that is wrong, I don't agree with, I'll tell you. So I believe and I'm a good listener, and I think that's happened in the past as well.
Okay, we're going to move on to the candidates for councillor. We have 3 questions here that we're going to rotate through and ask the candidates. First up, we have Steve Anthony. Steve, if you received a $1 million grant to use for the city any way you wanted, what would you do with it and why?
I would put a fun playland down at the beach 1. There's nothing for our children from age 3 to 13. That disturbs me. You.
Thanks, Steve. Joe Belanger. Joe, do you support building an arena, library, and cultural center as proposed in the downtown plan?
I absolutely do support putting it in our core. Everything we do in this town, we have to look at the economic impact. It's been said many times before, putting it out at the sports park, for instance, we don't have gas, water or sewer there, the expense would be tremendous. But more importantly, people would take back roads there from other communities and they would leave the same way. They would have their lunches and dinners in the communities they came from. We need to drive it to our core. I repeat, we're 91% reliant on residential property tax. We need to get our core business, commercial, up to 25%. In the very first meeting we had, we did a study of downtowns our size in North America, and they generated 25 to 27% of towns' revenue and only took up 2% of the land mass. Today, we're lucky if our downtown was
Thank you, Joe. Robert Portless. Robert, what neighborhood do you live in? Why? Where are your favorite places to spend time in our town?
I live out in the West End. I had properties out off of now Beechwood Drive. I had a few out there too. Right now I'm around 62nd Street. Favorite places to spend in town? Well, everybody knows I love canoeing, so the river is definitely one. I do actually spend a lot of time down at the main beach too. My wife and I go down every Tuesday for the market. My wife also did the plover babysitting back in spring. Do I have a favorite part of town other than the river? I say I like pretty well all of it.
Thank you, Robert. Ron Ego. Ron, if you received a $1 million grant to use for the city any way you wanted, what would you do with it and why?
I'd probably open up a few cannabis stores. All kidding aside, I thought that was funny too. Anyway, I think what I would do would be the first thing is, of course, with me with sports is I would probably close in Oakview Woods, so it would be another opportunity for children to learn how to skate, play hockey, and for pleasure skating. Right now we only have the one facility, and that facility is at its maximum at most times. That's why the hub will be a big asset to this town. $1 million, no. I've sang that song many times, and I would have to say that until you have it in your hands, I don't know what you'd really do with it, because there's so many things. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Leslie Farkas. Leslie, do you support building an arena, library, and cultural center as proposed in the downtown plan?
I fully understand the logic in putting everything in one place. That is without question. I understand the economic impact as well, and I certainly understand that it's a good idea. But I think that we should look into a little bit more of a diversification in terms of that, because in the summertime, when my son is playing hockey, I certainly don't want to climb over 2,000 tourists to get to the arena. There is a west end of town, and there are options, but the best thing about any plan, and I can assure you that any plan ever created in the history of time, has never followed exactly what they set out to do in the first place. As we adjust our plan and we go along, things will happen, issues will arise, and people will have different opinions. And those opinions need to count. And as we move forward, we need to make sure that those opinions are applied to the process.
Thank you, Leslie. David Foster. David, what neighborhood do you live in? Why? Where are your favorite places to spend time in our town?
All right. I currently live on 26th Street North. We've been there for the last 2 years. Prior to that, I lived about 17 years on Golf Course Road and on Leo Boulevard as well. My favorite places to spend time actually are Beach Area 4 or paddling down the Wasaga River. If you've never done it, you should. It's spectacular. Again, to be more specific, my favorite spot is my back porch. It's got a beautiful view and you can hear the lake. The town we have such amazing resources that you can sit in our homes and hear the lake crashing against the shore there. We have the river that we can explore. We have trails throughout town. It's spectacular what we have available here, and I enjoy spending time anywhere around Wasaga Beach. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Wendy Fox. Wendy, if you received a $1 million grant to use for the city any way you wanted, what would you do with it and why?
Well, $1 million isn't too much money these days, so I don't think I'd do anything crazy with it. I think I'd probably just add it to our reserves and use council and get ideas from the town, and maybe even have some sort of a fun game where everyone can give us ideas, and at council we can pick the 5 top ideas and maybe get some voting happening and use the money that way. Okay?
Thank you, Wendy. Mark Kinney. Mark, do you support building an arena, library, and cultural center as proposed in the downtown plan?
No, I don't. That was a simple answer. But the reason why I don't is I believe diversity makes us stronger, and to put everything in one location, I don't see that being good for the town as a whole. I think we should open things up for everybody throughout the town. As far as marina, I've got a default to our sports complex. Has the ability for expansion, and when you put a big capital expense like that towards the town, you've got to have the ability to make it expandable and have that last for years on end. And I love libraries too.
Thank you, Mark. James Cobell. James, what neighborhood do you live in? Why? Where are your favorite places to spend time in our town?
I live between beaches 3 and 4, and my favorite areas to spend are either walking the beach in the summertime, and driving around during the winter and spring, and in the spring and the fall, and in the wintertime, I enjoy going cross-country skiing at Blueberry Trail. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Kurt Lehman. Kurt, if you received a $1 million grant to use for the city any way you wanted, what would you do with it and why?
Well, first of all, it would fund my Ferrari fund. But after that, of course, the cultural center is on my heart. Coming from the arts, I think it's really necessary for Wasaga Beach to have this facility for many reasons. First of all, it's for the creative economy, for the benefit of our town, dollars, jobs. Second of all, it provides us entertainment, provides our local artists opportunities for a facility to promote their products or their performances. And it gives us something to go to in the evening, to get dressed up, go out, and then visit the restaurants afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. David Matthews. David, do you support building an arena, library, and cultural center as proposed in the downtown plan?
I don't support it. The cost factors, I believe in being thrifty with taxpayers' money. Those people that own that property there, which the town would have to buy, runs about $1 million an acre. I feel that we have sufficient land all over the beach that the town owns. This is where the arena should be built. The cultural center and the library, I don't see why we do not incorporate them with a high school. And we may have a better shot at getting a high school in this town. And they would be ideal for students and everybody else in the town.
Thank you, David. Patrice McCammon. Patrice, what neighborhood do you live in? Why? Where are your favorite places to spend time in our town?
In 20 years, I've lived in each end of the beach in the middle. And I now live in Stonebridge, a community of wonderful people, very community-oriented. And we, in the last 2 years as a community, have planted thousands and thousands of daffodils. And the idea being going forward into the future is that we would like to have a daffodil festival in this town in the spring. and Stonebridge would be the driving force behind making that happen. So I'm very proud of living in Stonebridge.
Thank you, Patrice. Dean Robinson. Dean, if you received a $1 million grant to use for the city any way you wanted, what would you do with it and why?
I'd go to Disneyland. No. $1 million, we all know we need the arena, we need it now. So that would probably be where I'd go. That's it. Yep.
Thank you, Dean. Alexander Stone. Alexander, do you support building an arena, library, and cultural center as proposed in the downtown plan?
Absolutely. I think urban sprawl is certainly a problem. So when people talk about putting the arena out by Klondike, it's a silly idea. There's a lot of residents that don't drive. We could increase bus services out that way, but like some of the other folks said, that to bring sewers and all the amenities back there wouldn't work out so well. So by concentrating it in the downtown, there's spillover effect into other businesses. So by bringing the library, the arena, you're going to get all this spillover into the other businesses in the area and get people starting to hang out down there, right, and spend money. So we don't have that central type of location, and a lot of people are affected by that. You have people hanging out in the Tim Hortons parking lot, in this town, not too many places to hang out. So by creating a public space like this, we could really improve the town. Thanks.
Thank you, Alexander. George Watson. George, what neighborhood do you live in and why? Where are your favorite places to spend time in our town?
Thank you. I've lived at 599 Mosley Street for over 50 years. It's a great location. It is right in the central part of town. We see a lot of the traffic, but we also hear the waves lapping at night. I enjoy the beachfront. I enjoy boating on the river, and I also like playing a few rounds of golf at our golf courses. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Stan Wells. Stan, if you received a $1 million grant to use for the city any way you wanted, what would you do with it and why?
I have really two answers, and I'm not sure which one I would lean to right away. First of all, I would look at the expansion of our facilities for young people within the community, perhaps adding into, as somebody mentioned, to the sports park, adding into the center where we have the skating and the BMX park and so forth. The other side of the coin for me would be, as also somebody mentioned, we're looking to expand a high school situation. That $1 million could go a long way to working with the school board on partnerships in terms of encouraging development of a high school that has other facilities like the library, like they did down in Angus, like a cultural center, like they did in Halliburton Highlands. So that $1 million could go a long way to creating partnerships with the school board. Thanks.
Thank you, Stan. Richard White. Richard, do you support building an arena, library, and cultural center as proposed in the downtown plan?
It is a good plan, and that's what it is, a plan at that. I do see a huge economic development in supporting our businesses downtown by giving them a livable core. However, I do think that there are some space constraints, and I would like to see this debated a little bit further. However, my primary goal in supporting the downtown plan is economic development, so you'd have to really show me a really great case to get it out of there. Thanks.
Thank you, Richard. Moving on to the school board trustees, Rob Potter is first. Rob, what accomplishments are you most proud of in the last 4 years, professionally and personally, that relate to school trustee?
Well, the last 4 years I was working until January this year for the school board as a teacher in Collingwood. And I really enjoyed the Builders Club, working with Kiwanis to do a number of projects. We raised in excess of $25,000 for projects around the school, playground equipment. We did things like the outdoor sign, a number of projects inside the school. We also raised close to $10,000 for community, from everything from hospice to the hospital. And the kids were the real leaders of this. I have gone several times to the Ontario Educational Camp with students to really teach leadership skills, and I'm really proud of the work that I've been able to do with students. And that's been the highlight in my career. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Next up, Tanya Snell. So after Tanya answers this question, we're going to do closing remarks from each of the candidates. So I'm going to get you to stay there because you're going to go first on the closing remarks. You're going to have a minute, so will the councillors. Deputy mayor and mayoral candidates will get 2 minutes for their closing remarks. Tanya, your question is, what accomplishments are you most proud of in the last 4 years, professionally and personally, that relate to school trustee?
One that comes top of mind is 3 years ago I started the Youth Leadership Awards in partnership with Shelley, our youth coordinator, and Josh Pallas was also included with that as well from Parks and Rec. It was an idea that came as I was attending one of the many galas that we have for entrepreneurs and for citizens, and I thought, why aren't we having an opportunity, a red carpet moment for our young people? Because I knew there were a lot of amazing youth leaders. And so we held a fantastic event and we recognized 16 outstanding people, and we gave them a complete rock star moment and a chance for their parents and family members to cheer them on. Then 2 years ago, there was some rumor of attempted abductions at the schools where there was some stranger danger. And so quickly I put together in June, in partnership with the YMCA and the OPP, a online and personal self-defense program for kids that was free to attend.
You're now going to get a minute to deliver your closing remarks.
Well, it's been really interesting going through this process, and I am so pleased to see that Wasaga Beach includes the school trustee, because other communities don't, and there wasn't an opportunity to be able to speak publicly in Collingwood, and I think that's a detriment. This is a really important role. It's one that helps to support our young people and all of our families, and it makes big decisions with your tax dollars as well. And Rob and I had an opportunity to get together for coffee a couple of weeks ago, and he is just as passionate for young people as I am, and he is all in favor as well for Wasaga Beach having a high school. So I think overall the citizens can't lose. You've got some great candidates, and we appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak to everybody, and thank you for taking the time today.
Rob Potter.
Thank you very much again for coming and for being a part of this. And it's been a great experience and a great deal of fun running for this. And I do believe in things for Wasaga Beach that are so important, because even though I come from Collingwood, this community is important to me. I've worked here. I've been the president of the Friends for 17 years at Wasaga Beach Park and Nancy Island, and this is important. It's been a real pleasure working with Tanya, as she said. It's tough. We both actually like each other, so it's going to be tough. Only one of us can win. So, thank you again so much for your listening, and if you have questions, please let me know or visit my blog site.
And in reverse alphabetical order along the list of candidates for councillor, they each will have a minute to deliver closing remarks as well. Richard White.
As part of my business career, I get to work with and respect many different personalities. I firmly believe in debating the facts that lead to great decisions. And no matter the outcome of a decision on council, I firmly believe in getting behind them and making them a success. You deserve that. On October 22nd, we have a great opportunity to move our town forward with business development and access to services for our residents. Please elect Richard White. Thank you very much.
Stan Wells.
Thank you. As I mentioned before, this has been my community for over 40 years, and I love it. When I came here in 1969, I really didn't think that I was going to be staying a long time, but I fell in love with the community, and I'm here. I served you for 11 years rather. I want to serve you again on your council. I only offer you again, as I said before, integrity, transparency, accountability, common sense, a voice of reason, independent thinking, and fiscal responsibility. The other thing I offer you is experience, and so I say again, experience the benefits of experience. Check my website, stanwells2018.ca, and thank you for your support. Thank you for taking time to be here.
George Watson.
Thank you. Wasaga Beach has developed into a vibrant, diversified community under the stewardship of previous councils, where I served for 11 years and had the great privilege and honor of doing that. Council must supply a more engaged consultation with the community about the downtown. Given the stated price tag of hundreds of millions of dollars, Wasaga taxpayers deserve crystal clear answers. During my second term on council, Mayor Patterson convened council at least once a year at this RecPlex to engage the community in a sort of State of the Union address to be very transparent and open with everyone. I'd like to see that brought back so that we can heal this divide in the community and move forward. Thank you.
Alexander Stone.
Well, I'm a long-time resident of this town, and I've been paying attention to this stuff for a long time. Each issue that's come out, especially since the advent of social media, we got a lot of us on there that we probably debated at some point. So I want the opportunity to do a few things if elected. And number one is affordable housing. It's a crisis in this town. You have people living in motels and getting kicked out come summertime, so tourists can take those spots. And people are left scrambling. So there's some ideas that I would like to work with the next council to accomplish on that regard. And on top of that, a library, medical facilities, and there's several other things that many residents have been adamant about for years. So we're going to continue to work on that, and I'd like the opportunity to do so. Thank you very much.
Dean Robinson.
Yeah, and I want to thank everybody for coming out. It's been an experience for me. It's definitely a learning experience. If I am elected, I've got a few things that I will do. I'll ask questions. I'll think of you people first. The questions I'm going to ask are who, what, where, why, when, and of course how much. If I can't get those answers, I mean, I just can't approve it. And the same thing would go for those people that vote yes. Without those answers, why are they voting?
Patrice McCannon.
For
the last 3.5 years, I've attended 85% of council meetings, the same amount of committee of the whole meetings. I've attended committee meetings all across the town. I currently serve on the Tourism Advisory Committee. I've been preparing myself for this role on council for the last 3.5 years, and I hope that my efforts are rewarded with your vote at the October election. Thank you very much.
David Matthews.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. I consistently hear about how Wasaga Beach has to become a world-class tourist town. In my opinion, I would much sooner see Wasaga Beach, and if I'm elected, I will fight to do this, to become a world-class lifestyle town.
Kurt Lehman.
Thank you. What would I bring to the council table? I would bring experience, passion, drive, and hard work. I think those that know me, I stood in council many times. I addressed them in letters and in meetings, and they know my passion. I get very excited, but it's for the good of our town. I listen to the people, we bring ideas. We know we have a lot of needs in Wasaga Beach. These are resolvable. Some of them are small. It's just we need to tweak a few things. Our town departments need some focus. We know that. Some changes have occurred. It looks great. I think so we're going to move forward in a very positive aspect. My information can be obtained online. I just had knee surgery a couple of weeks ago, so I won't be canvassing door to door. However, I can be reached by phone or on my Facebook page or email, electkurtlehman.ca. Thank you.
James Cobell.
I'd also like to thank everybody for coming out. Some of you have made up your mind, some of you haven't. It's going to be a challenge. The people who represent you have got a lot of challenges going ahead, and they have to represent tourism, the seasonal residents, and also the permanent residents of this town. I have ideas in order to improve traffic congestion that's currently in our town. I have ideas on bringing a high school as well. I'm against condos on Beach 2, but I am for development, and we need to improve the development for our tourism, and we need to look at bringing a double pad arena. I'm for it, the Klondike Park as well. We need to put the resources there as well. And you can find me on Facebook under James Cobell for Councilor 2018. Thank you.
Mark Kinney.
As my fellow candidates have said, I want to thank everybody who came out today. I think it's very important to get information and to understand what your possible elected officials might do for you on town council. I'd like to thank the Wasaga Beach Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event. I truly feel a safe community and a healthy one is something that somebody wants to live in. I'm with you, I live here, and as a result of that, I feel it's important. I feel that I can bring accountability, respect, and trust, and most definitely independent thinking to council this year. So please consider myself as a vote for council. And final word, please vote. Years and years, we don't get out as many numbers as we could, but I think it's vitally important to say what you have to say through a vote. Thank you.
Wendy Fox.
Thanks, everyone. I'd like to thank you for coming out, and I'd be honored if you would consider me for a position at council. I have lived here for 27 years. I've had a successful business here for almost 20 years. I volunteer extensively in our community, and I'll retire here. So you can chase me down if you don't like any of the decisions that you think I'm making. But I will always consider what the majority of people want in our town when I make our decisions, even if it goes against maybe what I personally believe in, because I think democracy is so important. It's a gift that we've been given and we need to use it. And another great thing is that I have leadership skills, but more importantly, I have skills of compromise. And I think maybe that's a great way that we can unite, is if we compromise on our decisions and move forward as one unit. Thank you.
David Foster.
Thank you very much. Again, I appreciate the time that you've given. I appreciate the chamber. I actually appreciate everyone who's put their name in here. This is a hard job. You don't understand it. And most importantly, I think we have to thank our significant others who are going through this with us together. I've put 43 kilometers walking through the town so far, meeting you door to door. And I got to tell you, it's actually inspirational. I'm not worried about the future of Wasaga Beach. People are passionate about it. They're not afraid to share their opinion. And I think as a councillor, with the experience I have and with the trust that you guys would place in us, I really do look forward for the oncoming term. So thank you very much for showing up. And again, I do agree with Mark. Please vote. And it's from the 12th to the 22nd, not just the 22nd.
Leslie Farkas.
When my wife and I were deciding on what community to set our roots in, there really was no decision. We looked around and we decided the best place to live, work, and play in, and it is obviously here. As I said in my initial statements, it is our responsibility to grow in a sustainable way and to consult the residents as we set our goals and achieve them, because I truly believe we are all in this together. And I think the most difficult part of being an elected representative is representing not only the people that you agree with, but the people you disagree with. Because at the end of the day, we truly are all in this together. I will be the voice of the people.
Ron Ego.
Thank you. I'd first of all like to say I was asked why I got into politics. I'll tell you why I got into politics. Because I did so much complaining, my wife finally said to me, "Go and do the job if you're so fed up." Anyways, I have traveled all over Canada and the United States, and when it comes to this part about the hub, I just like to explain something to some of the people. In every big city or every big town in the United States, there are a rink, there are a library, and their cultural centers are downtown. Now, they did it for a reason. And the reason was, most people have said that here tonight, it's because of the economy. You bring people into your town. The people are passionate. The people stay over. They spend money. They help our tax base. So with that, I'd just like to say, there was 4 things I said I was going to do when I ran in the 2014 election. That was a medical clinic. That was the town, Main Street.
Robert Bortless.
You actually do a terrific job pronouncing my last name. Most people have a real hard time with it. It is Bortlizz. The Z is silent, but I keep it there because it's the mark of Zorro. 3 minutes is not enough time for anyone to get any kind of a message out, so I invite all of you to visit my website, and it is Robert Bortlizz, all one word, .blogspot.com. For any of you people that aren't really computer literate or whatever, I'm sure you've got kids and grandkids that'll be willing to help you out. I've got posts on virtually every subject that was discussed tonight, sharing my thoughts, but with those posts, I've also reached out to other members in our broader community and got ideas and information from them as well. There's a lot to read there. Thank you.
Joe Belanger.
I will bring you more. Outside of my work on council, I have a passion to contribute to this community. Every morning when I get up, I look to support individuals, organizations, local business, charities, and events that help improve our community. And I want to tell you that humbly and very appreciatively accepted last week the Chamber of Commerce Award for Citizen of the Year. And I accepted that on behalf of every volunteer, because there's 300 organizations in South Georgian Bay that use volunteers, and without them, we would not have the community we have. Thank you.
Steve Anthony.
First of all, I'd like to thank the residents for coming out today, and also the Chamber of Commerce. Thank you. On my doors, hangers that I hang on residents' doors, and all my signs that I put up across the town, it says accountability. That means that I will be accountable to all Wasaga Beach residents. Responsibility, once again, responsible to all Wasaga Beach residents. Service, it says, and I will provide the service that all Wasaga Beach residents deserve. Thank you.
Closing remarks, we'll start with Bonnie Smith.
Thank you. I'm a little short here. Last time I ran for council after being EDO, I was concerned in the town that there wasn't anything happening with council with regards to economic development, moving ahead. I was very upset, and so were a lot of other businesses and people in town. I ran on Let's Get Back to Business. All of the things that I have listed, I am still listing because a lot of things are in progress. But I believe that this council, the present day council, has done a lot of the things to get us back to business. You know, when I ran too, I tried to be quick, I was really happy to be on council. I thought, this is great, this is going to be a teamwork, we're going to have fun, and we're going to get things done. Little did I know that out of five out of 7 members, I did not know before. I didn't know any of the members before. Why do 5 members vote one way and 2 another way? I've never cut my head around that, and I never will. But I believe the majority of council has done the right thing for you and will continue to do so in the future. George Bernard Shaw once said, "Progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything." If you want a deputy mayor who has the time, experience, commitment, vision, and integrity to represent you, I'm respectfully asking for your support to elect me as your deputy mayor. Let's not go backwards. The future is now.
Sylvia Bray.
Thank you. These final remarks grew. We thought they were 1 minute, now they're 2. So I'll talk slowly this time. Thank you, everybody who is here today, for giving up a sunny Sunday afternoon to be here to hear about us, all of us. There's a lot of us. We have a lot to say, but we're representing you, and I think it's really important that you get to know us. If you haven't had the chance, please give me a phone call, send me an email, drop into Grandma's Beach Streets. I would love to talk to as many as you can, of you as I can. I am knocking on doors. I don't know that I'm going to get to all 10,000, but it certainly is a rewarding exercise, and I'm enjoying it very much. It's my fundamental belief that your voice matters, and I will continue to listen to you. I've had a great 4 years on council. People ask me sometimes, really? You want to do this again? I do. I think I bring a lot to the table. My business experience, my current business. I live and breathe Wasaga Beach economy every single day. When people tell me things at the table that just don't make sense, I know that they don't run a business in our town. It's a different town. I've worked in other places. Wasaga Beach is very special, but building it and hoping people will come isn't necessarily the right answer. I think we have to build it slowly and steadily. I've learned a lot. I've been challenged. You can tell it's been a challenging council, but you know what makes you stronger? You stand up for what you believe, and you know what? There's a lot of support looking right back out at you. So thank you very much, Wasaga Beach. It has been an awesome experience. I certainly think as your deputy mayor, I will continue to do what I've done, but I'll do it at a greater level because I'll be fighting at the county table too. And there's a lot that we can do there that affects our day-to-day lives here, and I would really like to be there. My last comment is the 5-2 fallacy. I have 5 seconds. It's a lie. Thank you.
And now, with our final 2, the candidates for mayor. First, Brian Smith.
Two minutes is not a lot of time, and neither is 6. So I ask if anyone has any question of me at any time ever. I'm open to answer any question at any time, any place, with anybody. Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard a comment about we need to build it slowly. This town has been building slowly since the beginning of time, and it's time that we get it built. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about a couple of things. The downtown plan. The downtown plan you have heard today that was not well planned out, that it was rushed. This council has been in place for 4 years. 4 years is not rushing a plan, and we've been working on it from the beginning. The hub versus the sports park. Ladies and gentlemen, there's no gas, there's no water, there's no sewer at the sports park. It's about 125 acres, of which about 75%, give or take, is environmentally protected, and we don't even know or believe that the MNRF or the NBCA would let us build it out there. But it would cost millions to get those services to build it there. We need to be looking at the economic viability of our businesses in our community each and every day. It is the businesses in this community, the wonderful people that give back to our community every day, that support our teams, that support people when they need help. We need to make sure that they are viable. Without a viable business community, we will not survive. I want to talk very quickly about the vote. I have the utmost respect for everyone on this stage and everyone that's ran or been on the last council, and certainly for the position of mayor, because it is difficult. It's not rocket science, but it is difficult. And we all pay a price. We all put our hands up and we understand. But folks, let's be kind, let's move forward and make this town a better place. Thank you.
And last but not least, Nina Bifulci.
Thank you. I will keep it brief. I think we've all been in this room for a long time. I think everybody on this stage probably has a lot more to share with you than what we were able to today. So I encourage you to reach out to them, call them, check out their websites, and it's really important to vote for 7 independent thinking members of council. My website is ninabyfolchi.ca, and I encourage you to go there. I do have my thoughts on the downtown, the development for our beachfront. If you have questions about that, by all means, give me a call. I have thoroughly enjoyed being on council for 12 years, and I am ready to be your mayor. And if you want fair, honest, transparent, and inclusive leadership, I'm the person to do the job. As far as the vote of 5-2, I would like to say that on important votes that ended up as 5-2, it showed that 2 members were thinking independently. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming out today. I'm now going to turn it back over to Colleen, who's going to deliver some closing remarks.
Hi, everyone. On behalf of the Wasaga Beach Chamber of Commerce, I have some thank yous to deliver. First of all, Tyler Rollins, our Vice President, for all his help. Director Dr. Joel Simpson, Director Marlene Perkins, Pina Stilatano, our past president, and citizens of the town that have come out and given their time. Kelly Nash, Chuck Christie, Barb Christie, Kathy Mulgrew, and my favorite person, Phil Padgett. I'd also like to thank Rogers TV and Mike Joblansky, Wasaga Mike, we call him, for videotaping, and it will be on our chamber website. And I'd like to thank John Sandham for being our moderator this evening. And lastly, I'd like to thank all of you residents and your candidates for participating and being respectful of everyone for this forum. And we will have another one today at 6 o'clock. Thank you.